Yes, we're starting this. Hello and welcome to Focus Play's Sakura Angels 15 minutes apiece. Let's begin, shall we? Every night, I have the same dream. Every night, I'm always brought back to this place without fail. Then every morning, I'll wake up with no memory of this place at all until the next time I fall asleep. Not a single night has went by without my consciousness being dragged into this abyss. This realm is devoid of light, so much so that I can't even see my hand in front of my face, no matter how desperately I wave it. The concept of sound is just as absent. My steps silent, and my distressed cries swallowed by the bordering darkness as quickly as they had left my mouth. I'm in a bleak, barren wasteland of nothingness. Spending any prolonged amount of time here begins to make me doubt even my own existence. Yet, despite feeling suffocated by a striking absence of anything, I know I'm not alone. Something is watching me, stalking me from the shadows. I can't say for sure what it is, but every once in a while I'll catch sight of something from the corner of my view. A pair of burning, bright eyes, fixated purely on me. They hate me, despise me. There's an overwhelming sense of animosity radiating from whoever they belong to. I know they want nothing more than to lash out and attack me, but something is holding them back. A force they truly despise. Invisible chains that bind and restrict them from the one thing that is on their mind. At first, when I began dreaming about this place, the eyes were distant, like glimmering stars. But with each passing night, the eyes seemed to inch ever closer and shine ever brighter. I think whatever force has been holding them from me is beginning to fade. What will happen when these eyes reach me? I shudder to think. I know it's just a dream, so I shouldn't be afraid. Everything I experience here is so vivid. None of the usual murky haze that shrouds such dreamlike environments seems to exist here at all. I have perfect clarity. I can feel the stagnant, freezing air all around me, enough to incite a shiver out of me every once in a while. Since I'm so used to this dream, I know how it'll end. I'll wade through the darkness for what seems like an eternity, never finding anything, until the morning finally comes and pulls me out of this nightmare. At least, that was how it usually ended. Something is different tonight. Those hateful, burning eyes that always kept just out of sight before, I'm suddenly confronted by them. Never before have they been this close. Never before have I stared straight back into them. Their narrowed, piercing gaze roots me to the spot, and a shooting pain surges through me. I can't move. I can't breathe. And then, from out of the darkness, a crooked smile spreads just as sinister as the eyes. So close. So close. I can practically taste the freedom. It won't be long now. Enjoy the peace while you can, boy. Your days are numbered. And then everything shall change. My head is killing me. Those morning migraines are the worst, you know, what with the evil eyes and the horrible death stares and the words coming out of the darkness. Every morning, without fail, I always wake up to a sensation not like my skull being pounded by a jackhammer. Thump, thump, thump. It's almost like a heartbeat. I feel like my head is going to split open. It's weird though, because even though the pain is intense, it never lasts long. In the space it takes me to get up and head for school, the pain is usually reduced to just a dull throb at the back of my skull by then. So it isn't too much of a hassle in the grand scheme of things. But it certainly isn't a fun way to wake up. I just find it odd how consistent it seems to be. Anyway, enough pondering these weird mysteries. It's time to tackle the day. After a moment of wrestling with my blanket, I swing my legs around and drag myself out of bed. A quick look at my bedside clock tells me it's still early. Too early. If I had it my way, the world wouldn't start until at least a good way into the afternoon. But sadly, life just isn't that wonderful. Pulling back the curtains to let the light flood into my room, I suppress the urge to let out a hiss, almost blinding myself in the process. Too bright! The rest of my time getting ready is spent fighting with my uniform, the tie becoming all the more problematic to put on when you're half asleep. I hate ties for school. Oh god, I think I've actually got my hand stuck in it! Almost checking myself to death in the most pathetic fight ever, I finished putting on the tie, the rest of my uniform complying peacefully with me. Unable to find a comb, I settled for just flattening my hair down with my hands. Blinking into the mirror, I was staring back at someone with messy black hair. It's close enough. Somewhat stressed, and somewhat ready, I stumble out of my room, my legs still not fully awake. Uneven steps carry me dangerously down the stairs, and I soon emerge into the kitchen. I'm greeted by silence. The kitchen's empty. Familiar scene for me. My parents are what you might call workaholics. Basically, they spend more time at their respective jobs than they ever do here. I only ever get to catch them during the evening while they're eating, and everyone is off to bed and the cycle repeats. Don't get me wrong, I understand that I have to work in order to keep us living comfortably, so I don't hate them for it. It just gets, I don't know, lonely? Oh well. There's no use moping about it. It's been like this for years, so I don't know why I was getting all emotional about it now. The plus side of not playing around is that I quickly had to learn how to cook for myself. It's amazing how fast you can adapt to that sort of stuff when you're starving. I don't think I have enough time for anything fancy to eat for breakfast, so I'll just settle for toast. You can never go wrong with toast. Okay, you might be able to go wrong with toast. For example, I can go wrong with toast. I cannot cook, it's terrible. I have sudden traumatic flashbacks to when the toaster erupted into flames. What a day that was. But I've learned from my mistakes now. It won't happen a third time. This happened third time. No! Having devoured the only slightly charred toast, I sling my bag over my shoulder before starting for the front door. I give the empty house one last look over before opening the front door. It's kind of depressing to have no one to say goodbye to. But, again, it's been the same for every weekday morning since forever ago. The sun is shining high in a cloudless sky, birds are chirping overhead, waves of students are passing by, happily chatting with one another as they all make their way to school. It's also horrible. I'm not much of a morning person, so I can't even begin to fathom how everyone can be so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now. I mean, it's taking all of my willpower just to be able to put a foot in front of the other without just crumpling to the ground. I just have to hope that breakfast kicks in and gives me the energy I need before I'm forced to literally drag myself through the school gates. While keeping my head down and my eyes glued to the ground as I soldiered on, I suddenly noticed that the vibrant atmosphere from before is gone. Silence has completely taken over. My steps are the only thing making any noise. The air is still. Huh. That's a bit strange. A bit? You're in the middle of the city and there's no sound, and you can say that's a bit strange? Bringing my head up, I'm met with an unsettling sight. The street is deserted. No students, no cars, even the cheerful chirping of the birds is gone. What? I hurry on forward, hoping to at least run into somebody. Anyone. Even the sun's once golden rays seem muted, the world tinged in dreary tones. But there still isn't a cloud in the sky. Yes, there is. I can see the clouds right there. Okay, this is definitely starting to freak me out. I need to just... A splitting pain shoots through my head, stopping me in my tracks. Like a searing poker being thrust through my skull. A headache? Now? Nothing's making any sense. Desperately trying to keep myself upright as I clutch a hand in my head, I stagger forwards. Unlike the headaches from before that gradually died down, this one only seems to be getting worse. Thump, thump, thump. It won't stop at all. Brought to my knees. I can hardly even think straight. My head threatening to explode at any moment. And then, through gritted teeth and a pained expression, I see it. Something that shouldn't exist. Yet, clearly does, as confirmed by my own terrified eyes. A monster. That's the only word that can come to my scrambled mind. That looks pathetic. Oh, it's a good little monster boy. Oh, good. Oh, look at your big bad teeth. Oh, look what you got your 4 eyes. Oh, and your big scary horns. But you've made yourself all look fluffy. Oh, good. A monster. A hulking, grotesque mass of flesh, no. With gnarled fangs, no. And red, slitted eyes, seething with hate. The closest thing I can relate it to would be a dog, but no dog I know is of 3 times the size of me, is formed practically eclipsing the sun, also not walking on legs and with 4 eyes, horns, or hands. It snorts with flared nostrils, something like steam being exhaled out. Given its tense stance and the way and the fact it's blocking my way, I can only assume it's here for me. But why? What the hell is it? Where did it come from? Why does it want me? A million and one questions race through my head, but I doubt I'm going to get any answers from this thing. There's only one thing I can do when presented with such odds, and that is to flee. Yeah, of course. I'll be an idiot to attempt anything else. When confronted with something that defies everything I know about nature, and have a look that says, I'm going to eat you, it's basic human instinct to want to run. Not giving the beast any more of my time, I spin on my heel and hurtle myself in the opposite direction. Any fag I might have felt earlier is magically gone as I pump my legs frantically. It's amazing what fear can do to pep up your senses. I run as fast as I can. In my haste, I twist my foot at a bad angle. Scrumpling into a heap on the floor. Ignoring the nasty scrapes across my knees, I desperately try to heave myself up off the floor, but it's useless. I'm a complete wreck. And here the beast rampaging just behind me, having given chase. The fear of impending death is making my limbs useless. My scattered mind unable to give them any clear commands. The only thing I can do is turn my head around to meet my incoming demise. The beast stomping so hard across the ground that cracks spread out with each step. It's over. Right before the beast can connect with me, bring my life to a grisly end, a dazzling radiant light floods my vision, engulfing both me and the monster. The beast stops in its tracks, a guttural cry, escaping before it vaporizes before my eyes. Oh, okay. Like, no, sorry, that's it. Well, it just sounds like a bear in pain. Not even a bear in pain, like Yogi Bear in pain. It dies. What the hell just happened? Jeez, that was a close one. Are you alright? A cheerful voice, chaps. A welcome sound after the terrors of that thing. Don't talk to him. We have to leave before... Now another voice that's less cheerful. In fact, they sound angry more than anything. The light soon fades, revealing my saviors. Bosoms 1 and Bosoms 2. Oh yes, Sakura angels. Bosoms, bosoms, bosoms all the way. That's the pinpoint of every Sakura game. Ay. Though, this is definitely the last thing I was expecting. Two girls roughly my age stand before me, but at completely different ages. I blinked several times before I scrubbed at my eyes, hoping things might make a little more sense. This can't be real. I'm having more trouble believing these girls are actually standing before me than I did the monster. Building weapons and costumes taken straight out of a fantasy book. It's all a bit much for my brain to attempt to process. What? What the heck was that? A shadow? The more cheerful of the two simply says that to me. It stands for relaxing some. Huh? Is that supposed to explain everything? I glanced down at my feet with my own stretches, but the girl burst into a giggle. Not your own shadow, silly. That thing we just took care of, which you're welcome for, by the way, is what we call a shadow. A physical manifestation of all the hatred and negative emotions that might left in one's heart. Normally they're not so aggressive during the day. It was really out for you. We're usually pretty good at nabbing them before they get to you. This one completely took us by surprise. I'm happy we got here in time. You're not hurt, are you? No, I'm fine, but... As if things weren't bad enough that we had to reveal ourselves to him, now you're just casually blabbing away things that no normal person should have a right to know. Have you lost your mind? I'm cut short by the more aggressive looking of the pair. His expression has grown darker and darker as the cheerful one had spoken. Looking like she's unable to take it anymore, she exploded, causing both of us to jump. Hey! But he looks so confused. Now they've seen all the shadows firsthand, I think it's just a little too late for us to quietly slip back into the shadows. Her eyes narrow into a frightening glare. It's clear she isn't happy. I don't think she has anything to counter that. See? You worry too much. Finally tell him what he needs to know. Nothing more, nothing less. The upbeat girl brings her attention back to me, a sparkle in her eye. Right, so Kenta, where were we? Alright, now we've met our first two girl protagonists of the game, Sakura Angels, hooray! And we defeated a monster, hooray! And naturally, they just have the most incredibly short cropped outfits. Amazing. Well, join me next time in case you particularly want to be a terrible pervert like I currently am, playing Sakura Angels. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck with all your efforts.